We should be live. Let me just double check. Okay, all right, awesome. Well, thanks everyone for showing up. Um, I want to take a minute or two to just kind of give some background on things here, and then Venkat and Josh will take it away. But I think I know everyone here, but just in case someone I don't, I'm Tim. I work with the Ethereum Foundation, and we basically were the ones that helped put together Summer of Protocols. So myself, Venkat, and Josh co-organized and ran this program over the past year. And our motivation for doing this started asking some questions around Ethereum, trying to better understand the protocol, how we should steward it, and just realizing there wasn't a good sort of foundational framework or theory that we could lean on to think about this. And so we had this idea of what if we funded a whole group of researchers from a bunch of different domains, a bunch of different backgrounds to think about protocols across that wide range of domains, and potentially some of the insights they would come up with would apply across many domains, and we could be more certain that they were actually sound rather than sort of the analogies we come up with just looking at Ethereum specifically. And so we did this over the summer. We had over 30 researchers spending the summer thinking about protocols. And when we got to the end, we were trying to think about the right way to just publish what we found, like all of the insights and kind of analyses that came out. It didn't feel like we were at a point where the ideas were refined enough that we could say, here's like a book, an authoritative overview of everything we've learned. It felt more like we had a set of really, really high quality field notes and observations around the sort of rabbit holes we'd gone through. And so we came up with this idea of a kit, which is basically a way to put all of this together, to bundle the different types of outputs, the different domains, and have people be able to put it together themselves and play around with it and interact with it. So today we're revealing this. Josh and Venkat will do the bulk of it, but the first bit of the kit is we have these binders, which I'll try to unblur.
Oh, Tim, yeah, okay.
Okay. Yeah. So the idea of the kit is we put everything in a binder like this, and we'll have all of the research from the program sort of drip fed to people where they can take it, go through it, take notes, add stuff of their own, and hopefully build their own protocol kits where we can start actually researching and building a community around this. Everything will also be available online for free, and the first batch of essays and of artifacts has been released today. So yeah, I'll hand it over to Josh, who can walk through this first release.
Awesome. Thank you, Tim. Let me just share my screen here. All right. So yeah, we've been hard at work putting together these materials over the past 3 or 4 months. It's taken a little bit longer than we had expected it to, with lots of fun production little things that we figured out along the way. As Tim mentioned, in July we had a researcher meeting, and it was a place where we were able to get together and have some in-person conversations. And one of those conversations was about how do we present this material once the program has come to its conclusion. And there were lots of different ideas and thoughts that went into this, and eventually we settled on this kit format. The reason we decided on this kit format was because a lot of this information felt really new and still like in process, and we wanted to present the materials in a way that would reflect that. So we chose the kit binder format, and that kit lends itself to really being a thing that a person can use and really dig into. It's really a useful and interactive and even customizable format for all of this research to be presented in. So I'm going to go through a little bit of the materials that one might find in this first module. So here we have an introductory letter. It's got a nice little README here on the front and back, and then you'll find a kit ledger that we encourage you to fill out, put your name in. For some of these kits, they may be going in libraries or offices or places where multiple people might have access to them. So, for example, this one is going to live in the Ethereum Boulder office. And here is a nice section for you to let people check out the information, right? So if you wanted to borrow, say, one of the essays, you might put it in here and say, I'm going to borrow standards, and we'll return it sometime. So that's a fun little thing at the beginning there. Next, we'll move on to one of the essays. This is the essay by David Lang, Standards Make the World. It's got a nice glossy cover to it with an AI-generated art image. We've got some publishing information in here, but the important part is that we've designed this in such a way that we want it to be as interactive as possible. So you have your kind of standard paper stock here so that it's easy for a person to, say, highlight some of the information that they find particularly interesting, right? Maybe make a note in the margin here. Right, so it's really designed to be something that you interact with, that you utilize, that you put your own liner notes in, and all of this sort of thing. Next is an example of one of the supplementary materials that that some of the researchers have created. This was created by Aaron Lewis, who is one of the affiliate researchers. It's a smaller, more artfully created piece. And to just showcase kind of some of the different little form factors that this research has come in. This is a little graphic novel by Nahi Kim, and it's nicely printed on glossy paper, and it's a much smaller sort of artifact compared to the other pieces. So they all have these nice different custom form factors. This is an example of another one of the supplementary materials that we've created. This is a maze created by Venkat. Got a nice fold here that you can let it expand, and we'll just start here at the maze and try to figure out how we're didn't make it. So yeah, all of these materials are meant to be interacted with and utilized, and maybe even displayed outside of the kit. Additionally, a lot of the essays from our core researchers have supplementary materials, right? So this is a piece that is from Drew Austin, which is meant to go alongside his essay. And it is a protocol pattern language. So we've got a nice little introduction. And this is a serialized piece here. So every month you'll receive 2 more pieces of this particular project, and each one comes in its own page. And yeah, you'll just continue to collect them as they go along. And finally, we've got a series of cryptography explainers throughout the different modules. This one's written by Mario and Tim, and yeah, they're sure to be very interesting. So with that, I'll go ahead and pass it off to Venkat after a quick look here at the protocol kit.
All right. Thanks, Josh. And I want to kick off my little spiel here with just a big vote of thanks to Josh for leading this whole production execution piece of the puzzle, and Jenna Dixon, who's on the call, who's also been instrumental in like just pulling this whole editorial process together. This took a lot of work, and when we met at our retreat and just brainstormed how to do it, and I remember we had 3 tables of brainstorming options, and 2 of the tables came up with this kit form factor as the fun way to do this. And at that point, it was like we just all enjoyed the fun of the idea and brainstorming the various ways you could do things with it. And these last 4 months have been like the execution part. Some of it has been painful, but I think overall this is one of the most rewarding like publishing projects I've ever been involved in. Now I want to mainly show you guys the website that, again, Josh and Jenna have mainly been putting together. Can you guys see my screen? All right. So remember when we were doing the program, we had like a kind of janky Notion website with just working materials. Well, now we have a fancy new site, and this is a proper WordPress site that I want to quickly walk you through because it sort of like fits into the plans we had. So it's at the domain summerprotocols.com. I just wanted to, I didn't plan on having any slides, but I did decide to like flash some old slides which some of you have seen before. So these are slides that I shared a couple of times through the retreat. And yeah, if you remember, several times we discussed what does it take to actually spark a new field of study, to really like get people thinking deep and wide about something new that's happening. And we talked about a lot of like historical precedents ranging from like, the Macy conferences to the Bloomsbury set to the foundation of AI at the Dartmouth conference, cybernetics. So these things don't just happen. When like a big technology and economic movement is brewing, if you look at history, you'll always find that some group was instrumental in coming together, talking about it, thinking deeply about it beyond like just, the immediate concerns of like, hey, how do I learn this stuff? How do I like make money at it? It's beyond all that. And when you look at that and you realize like just how much like conscious effort went into it, you kind of get a calibration of what you need to do to get there. So wanted to just flash these pictures, collages that we saw several months back. At least some of you did. Those of you watching the live stream or this recording, yeah, this is something we set out to do very deliberately. It's not like we're just having fun over a summer and we're hoping good side effects happen. We very consciously are thinking about how do you like spark a scene? How do you get a lot of people thinking and researching protocols? How do you get like entrepreneurs already working on protocols to go beyond like, just this is just another technology to build a startup out of, to thinking like, this is a technology infrastructure that might last a century, 2 centuries, who knows, Roman roads are still with us. So can we get people to think in really long-term ways about what they're building and like the historical legacy that might arise from it if it succeeds, right? So this is part of our mission here at the Summer Protocols, to try and get this going. Like we can only play a very small catalytic role, and we can hope to plant a few seeds somewhere. But for those of you who are listening to this, those of you who might get the kit, we want you to think in this broader framework, right? How do you spark a scene that can grow into like, I don't know, a big piece of the civilizational stack over the next 100 years, not like what can happen in the next year or 2. Like, yes, your part of this story might be just the next 10 years when maybe you're doing protocol themed work, research, entrepreneurship, or whatever. But in 100 years from now, we'll all be dead. Well, except those of us taking longevity drugs, maybe. But yeah, in 100 years, what will be the legacy? Like, there's this line of like, civilization flourishes when old men plant trees whose shade they will not live to enjoy. I really like that. And I think all of us are in that boat when it comes to protocols. Like all of us will be dead by the time like the true value of what we're trying to do here comes to fruition. So just wanted to remind people of that. But let's go back to the website. Yeah, so there's research spotlights, that's the core of this website. Every thing we're releasing is released under open source license that most of you have seen, and it's freely downloadable, printable, even those who don't get the printed kit that we are producing. You just saw the protocol kit itself that Josh did a wonderful display of. And by the way, this is really exciting because I'm not personally somebody who invests a lot of effort or thought into like polished production stuff. But when somebody does that around something I've contributed to, it's really satisfying. So I'm really, really looking forward to getting the kit. And yeah, Tim and Josh have already seen bits and pieces. I'm looking forward to mine. I do want to remind people that this is not just a summer research program with a bunch of publishing coming out of it. We had a whole big guest talk series that now is like a really big archive of YouTube videos that started with this Jeff Manott talk. And it continues. It's going to be every week or 2 weeks. This week we have David Lang just after this launch. And next week we'll have Raphael doing his research presentation. There's also a newsletter. Those of you watching who are new to this whole thing, please do sign up. All our event updates will be there. And there's a couple of new things I want to point out, which I'll get to in a second, which even most of you haven't seen. But yeah, there's just to walk you through the rest of the website, there's this research tab. And this basically shows you what's coming down the line. So module 1 is what Josh just gave you a preview of. So it has, I think, about 13 or 14 pieces. You saw a few of them. Let's see. Module 2, all this is like coming soon. But yeah, we have 6 modules planned. And you can link to these. Some of them will say coming soon. So you'll be able to talk about it and point people to it ahead of time. The next tab is the protocol kit. All right. Yeah, so this is the actual kit page describing the kit. And you'll see that there are 2 tabs at the bottom. There's a description and a request a kit. I'll talk about request a kit in a couple of minutes. But the description, there's, if you want like a simple, a big overview of all the research, there's this link to the retrospectives, which I already have open in a tab. This is, I think, a 20-page PDF document that just has all the abstracts of the research being published. So it's a very convenient overview. And when we put this together in the last couple of weeks of the program, it really helped me, I don't know, feel like I was lost in the weeds and in the fog, and it felt like I got to climb up on top of a mountain and survey it. So I really recommend you look through this retrospectus. By the way, name is sort of like a hat tip to the culture of retroactive public goods funding in the crypto world, which I think is one of the best things to have happened in the last cycle of the crypto world, which is this public spirited effort to build out the commons. And this whole thing, we hope, is our contribution to the commons. So yeah, this is the retrospective of all the research. Let's see, what else do you want to show you? All right. One more thing here. All right, so if you go to any of the individual research pages, let's go to this one. And let's look at this one, since David is going to be talking about it in a minute. So you can download David's essay right here. And you'll see that there's also comments here. And these connect to a whole new thing we put up, which is a discourse site. So this is the discourse site. If you click and go through, yeah, you'll get like a thread for each of the research items that's being talked about in the salons. Plus, of course, this is open. You can create threads on anything you read. So we hope to create a very open culture here. So kind of like Hacker News or any other aggregator, if you find something interesting about protocols, share it here, and all of us will dive in and talk about it. So please, in the next 10, 15 minutes, while you're listening to this launch, please go to summerofprotocols.com and make your way to the discourse and create an account so you can join the conversation. This is, by the way, open to read for the public, unlike our Discord, but you have to be logged in to post comments. So we wanted to create a forum that's much more open to the public, for the public conversation. So that's our discourse. Let's see. The last piece I wanted to highlight is our talks. Like I said, we have a very big archive now, and there's a whole tab of talks on these, but there's also a YouTube channel, which I strongly recommend you subscribe to. So there's already, I think, like 30 talks here, really excellent talks, by the way. And there's going to be 1 or 2 more coming down the line. So this should become a very rich archive. So, all right, back to the front page. So yeah, research, protocol kit, the videos, the newsletter, and the discourse. And the last thing I want to talk about is how do you actually get the kit? So if you go to the kit page and you go to the request a kit, this is actually a Google form. So we are not selling the kits. There are 512 kits available for free, and we're going to be distributing them as strategically as possible to try and truly spark the scene, catalyze thought and research and activity in the right places. And the way to get a kit is, well, request one on this form. So it asks for a few details, a name, affiliation, what you hope to do with it. Are you going to try and run like a study group? Are you going to like pursue an individual research project? Do you run a library? Do you run a startup where you might want to have it in your, lobby coffee table? Whatever you want to do, let us know. And we'd like you to, I don't know, be sort of a live part of this conversation and trying to make this scene happen. So if you're listening and new to this whole thing, but have like a lot to say or think about or do in protocol world, please do request a kit. We do have a limited number, but like I said, it's all free, all downloadable. So you can just make your own kit if we run out. You can just print them all and put in a binder. Yeah, so that's kind of all the practical stuff here. But I want to conclude with, again, re-emphasizing the long-term sort of like legacy aspect of this. I mean, the researchers amongst you, first of all, congratulate yourselves. You're like 30 people who are in the right place at the right time. None of us is super special. I mean, I'm a big believer in being in the right place at the right time with sort of the right curiosity and attitude being the thing that moves mountains and makes history. You don't have to be a genius, but we are all lucky enough to be in the right place at the right time around like a really important brewing sort of technology and historical revolution. So kind of like, I don't know, own the moment, carpe diem, so to speak, and all these little practical things like listening to talks, networking, going to meetups, reading the research, distributing the research, keep the binder on your coffee table. And if somebody wants to borrow it, let them have it, spread this stuff around. And we'll all be forgotten, footsteps in the sand 100 years from now, but it's kind of nice to think that there's a small chance that the world might be a better place in 100 years because this summer in 2023, we did a bunch of things and tried our best to make a difference, right? So with that, I think we'll have a few more minutes left for questions before we segue into David Lang's talk, which will be at the same Zoom link. So I'll open it up to questions here and stop sharing. So yeah. Thoughts, reactions, questions?
It looks really tight.
Everything looks so good.
All you researchers will, of course, be getting your own personal kit, but we will also be making some available for you guys to distribute. So if you have a couple of people you think are really interesting people to somehow nerd snipe into the protocol scene, yeah, we'll give you a few to hand out. Tim, Josh, any other thoughts to add?
No, I think I'm happy to wrap up here. So yeah, you all saw the link on the website. We'll be sorting through all of this in the next couple of days as the requests come in. And yeah, if there's anyone you think would be really excited by this, please send them send them the website. And yeah, we can take a couple minutes before we move on to David's talk.
I just want to give a big shout out to Jenna, who had a huge part in putting together all of these printed materials. So yeah, just big thanks to you for all your work as well.
Yeah, but again, quick preview. David's talk is coming up in 5 minutes, and this has been one of my favorite essays because it connects the older history of standards making in industrial technology with the emerging history of like, protocols and computer and networking technology and like even beyond human social systems and stuff. So it's kind of like a very nice piece of research to be kicking off this official public phase of the protocols town hall with. So yeah, that'll get started in a couple of minutes. So yeah, we'll leave the Zoom on. I think we'll stop this live stream and start a new one. Correct, Josh, to start a new recording. And we'll be back here in a couple of minutes with David. So yeah, David, feel free to take a quick break, but come back.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.